Take a deep breath.
Like I'm leaning forward.
I'm so chilled right now.
What you do is you pack your shoulder blades together and then you firmly press them against the chair. And it creates stability.
You're gonna look way taller than us in this video.
Because of the chair height?
Yeah.
This is Shreyas. Since you saw him last, he's grown to 7 feet tall.
He is now 7 feet tall. His program's working great. He's on a...
Specifically made to produce growth hormone.
Just vertical growth. That's what we're looking for.
That's it.
Imagine the money you'd make off of that if that were a real thing.
I would use that. Absolutely. Being 5'9" is not
Dude, you know
most fun.
You know what's wild? So... Since high school, I've thought that I was 5'10".
Yeah.
100% sure I was 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
Measured myself because I was thinking, well, maybe. Because the classic physique weight requirements are based on height.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what if I'm actually 5'11" and I don't need to be 197? I think it's like 205 or something. Mm-hmm. Measure myself. I am 5'9.5". Like, when did this happen?
I wonder if that has anything to do with frequently and consistently putting 500 to 600 pounds on your back.
See, that's what I was wondering too.
Like 10 years from now, you're gonna look like Gimli from Lord of the Rings. You got the beard for it.
Oh man,
that'd be dope.
Hey, I'd embrace it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Short, stubby little guy.
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm super into that idea. I think you have a Halloween costume idea now.
I feel like before I was even a hair above 5'10", like 5'10.5". Or 5'10.25".
I mean, I used to be 6'3", so.
Wow, you've been putting up some pounds on the squat.
Yeah.
You know me, I'm 5'11". Every time I walk into the gym, I'm always taller than you.
You're not 5'11". You probably are.
You're probably 6'11".
Based
on how you look in this video right now, you're probably 6'11".
You probably are taller than me though if you're 5'10", because apparently I'm not 5'10".
I don't even know what I am anymore.
It sounds like an existential crisis.
Yeah, it sounds like a problem.
Yeah.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Big Freakin Health Coach Podcast. I'm Big Freakin Neil, and I'm joined, as always, every single week. Look at that face, though. My business partner, buddy, brain twin, Health Coach Kane, and Shrey Beast.
I'm back.
Shrey Beast!
Returning guest. First guest and returning guest. And
our first and second guest.
Only guest so far. What's up, guys? What's going on, fellas?
It's going, man.
It's the latest.
What you been up to, Shrey?
School started for me.
That's fun.
Fun.
How's day one? And are you doing that, like, do you actually go to campus? Because you're in college.
Right now, it's online, but yeah.
Okay.
So Shrey has just started college.
Yeah.
Yesterday was...
Day 2, but that's later.
Okay. Day 2 today of college. What's that like? Do you feel like an adult?
Yeah, but we got to class, and they're like, all right, we're going to go over the syllabus. And they're like... And they gave a project... And a
project on day one?
A group project and an essay.
An essay?
Yeah. I'm like, what the
now that you know the syllabus, please write me 10,000 words on what you think about the syllabus. And you have to get it peer reviewed.
What is the subject matter of the essay after just reviewing the syllabus?
No, it's not on the syllabus.
It should be. That'd be amazing.
What do you have to write about?
I don't know. I gotta go look at the assignment again.
Oh man, when is it due?
Next week.
You think?
Yeah.
You're very prepared, I can tell.
I'm so prepared.
You are just as prepared as I was.
Yeah, I mean, none of us were prepared. Let's be real.
You're going to want to turn that around quick.
I mean, we turned out okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't go to my math class for 2 quarters.
Don't need to.
I mean, it was at 8 a.m. You really want me to show up and do statistics at 8 a.m.?
You know that you're in the right line of work, buddy. Mm-hmm. When you couldn't get yourself out of bed at 8 a.m. for math, but you can get yourself out of bed at 4:45 to train somebody.
It's a little more invested in this.
You cracked the code. You found the right job for you. Guys, what are we talking about today?
Nutrition, baby.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking bro diets. And if it fits your macros.
Bro diets versus if it fits your macros.
I feel like I should have made a Street Fighter style graphic for this.
You probably should have.
That would have been
There's still
the
time
thing to do.
There's still time.
We'll see.
I want to see it by the end of today.
I'm not an artist. It'll be on a napkin somewhere.
Good enough. I'll take a picture with my phone of the napkin and use it as the thumbnail for this episode.
Cool. Yeah, we'll do it in crayon on a bar napkin. That's
Perfect.
the best combo.
Perfect. Yeah, this is a good topic. If it fits your macros is very popular for good reason. There's a lot of there's increasing amounts of science behind it and research. Quote unquote bro diets are still used by pretty much every professional bodybuilder. Still very much more popular in that realm. So yeah, let's dive in.
I feel like there's a little bit of a theme of science versus tradition that goes along with it. That being said, there's also a ton of science that actually fits both of them. I mean, the bro diet isn't devoid of science. It's just like it existed before the science to validate it came through.
Correct. Yeah. So here's my take on why bodybuilders sort of stick to that really, really simple quote unquote bro diet eating plan. And being on prep myself, I can say that it boils down to consistency. If you're eating the same or close to the same foods every single day, it's really, really easy to make micro adjustments, which is something that you have to do when you're close to a show.
Yeah.
So instead of, you have to pull out 25 grams of carbs, and instead of going, okay, I need to figure out how to fit these foods into my new set of macros, you just pull out 25 grams of white rice from one meal because that's your source of carbohydrates for that meal. So the big advantage to that for a competitor and for the competitor's coach is that it's very tweakable and it's very simple. Another really underrated aspect of bodybuilder diets in general is digestibility. This is something that I never paid that much attention to before, but being on prep, I'm very aware of it. And that is how quickly and how well are the foods you're eating making their way through your digestive system.
Yeah. Should we quickly do a couple definitions
Yes.
for these things?
Yes.
So bro diet is not technically a specific technical term.
True.
So walk me through what a bro diet means for someone who hasn't ever been on a bro diet.
Good point. So what we're referring to as a bro diet would be like the traditional bodybuilder meal plan. So usually it's chicken and rice and broccoli or some variation of that, fish and rice. Usually there's oats for breakfast. It's all of the quote unquote clean foods.
Super clean, easy to control the amounts of these foods, easy to measure.
Usually pretty much no what's the word I'm looking for? Processed foods. Pretty much all whole foods, veggies with every meal, and really simple lean protein carb with every meal, pretty much.
So like I think one of the staples that goes with the bro diet is that you have your macronutrients more or less separated. It's not like a recipe where you'd put all these things into a casserole or something that. You have your chunk of dead animal.
Yes.
Your blob of carbohydrates.
Yes.
Your vegetables.
Yes.
And whatever fat content you get is probably somewhere in those three things.
Yep. And which circles back to the point of being very easily tweaked. You've got your 3 basic ingredients on your plate separated. It's really easy to take out or add an additional ounce of any of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. If it fits your macros, why don't you define that for us?
Pretty much Your macronutrients is what macros refers to: protein, carbohydrates, and fats. Based on your total calorie goal for whether you want to gain or lose weight, your protein requirement, and then the ratios of carbs and fats that you want to put in there, you have a more or less prescription of how many grams of each of those things you want to get.
Yeah.
And you are free to eat whatever you want as long as it fits those basic criteria.
Right.
So the ingredient itself, not super important. Fitting into your macronutrient goals is the defining characteristic.
Yes.
So this is where you see, like, folks will eat Reese's Puffs cereal for breakfast, and they don't care because it fits into their macros over the course of the day based on the rest of the things that they eat. So, like, that would be totally fine then.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say we should probably discuss our experiences with each of these.
Yes.
So have you, Health Coach Kane, ever been on a bro diet, and have you ever followed If It Fits Your Macros?
I have done both.
Perfect.
And I will tell you right now, If It Fits Your Macros is easier to stick with, but I have never gotten better results than when I was on a bro diet. Because, first of all, I'm not a good cook.
Yeah.
Straight up. Like, if I can barbecue an entire barbecue worth of chicken and fish and make a pot of rice and then just throw mixed vegetables on my plate with that, I can eat that every single day without fail and only miss it like once, miss like a pizza or a burger or something more delicious like once a week.
Yeah.
So like the leanest I've ever been was when it was chicken, rice, and broccoli.
So what do you personally attribute that to most?
Consistency.
Yeah.
Honestly, If It Fits Your Macros is more flexible, which is advantageous to a lot of people. So they do well on it. For me, I'm not creative in the kitchen. So giving me the free reign to pick whatever ingredients or recipes I want as long as they fit this thing gives me so many variables that it actually makes it harder for me to adhere to those things.
Fair.
The simplicity was really helpful for me in that regard.
So in your opinion, do you think it really boils down to the type of person?
Yes. I think your preferences play a huge part.
Okay.
Shrey, you want to weigh in on that? Like, which one? You've probably done both.
You've done both for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Which one did you find easier to stick with or more effective?
Well, I've done the bro diet for longer, but right now this is what's easier to stick with for me is the if it fits your macros. Just because I came from being really heavy and I need to have foods that I like to eat that also work.
I remember when you were following your bro diet, you had trouble with consistency, like not falling off the wagon super hard.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit? Like, what were the biggest challenges when you were following the bro diet?
Yeah, so the problem with the bro diet is, so I'd eat really clean during the week because I was waiting for that Friday or that weekend that I could eat what I wanted to, right? And that's bad because then you binge all that and then...
So basically you had your cheat day.
Yeah, and then you have this bad like relationship with food there. You don't like any of the foods you're actually eating. You're just waiting for Sunday. And for me, for it to be sustainable, I need every day to feel like I'm happy. So I don't want to be just happy one day. I want to be happy every day when I'm eating. And why should I sacrifice? I mean, of course, when you're trying to get really, really lean, there's differences you have to do there. But for mostly year-round, for me, I'd rather be happy with what I'm eating than to hate it and then wait for that one day or one cheat that I get. And then,
no, I agree with that. I think...
What do you think about that, Shrey? Would it be, so for someone who's having trouble fitting whatever they feel like into it, if it fits your macros, do you think it would make sense for someone to do a strict bro diet for a while till they get to the place they want to be, and then use those macronutrient profiles to switch to an if it fits your macros kind of approach?
I think it depends. If you're young, right, and you don't have the time to really go into or want to just eat chicken, broccoli, and rice, which most kids don't, that'll be very difficult, so I do it my way. But if you're older and you're willing to try both or like see how your body reacts, I'd say try bro diet first, see how it goes for you. Then move on to the if it fits your macros.
I think you touched on a good point there. That is a really common pitfall with the bro diet, that a lot of people that follow that do tend to binge when on the weekends and when they do fall off their diet. And they usually fall off really, really hard because they've been eating nothing but chicken and broccoli and rice. And instead of having sort of a more reasonable, fun meal, they're going to eat an extra large pizza in its entirety.
Like, you could have a cheeseburger, but you can't have 4 cheeseburgers.
Right.
And people will be like, oh my God, cheeseburgers, and they'll have 4.
Right. There's also a huge difference between someone who's getting ready for a contest and has that single goal in their mind. Like me right now, that's in the forefront of my mind, and I know that that's what I'm preparing for, and it's worth it to me. The average person who's just trying to get into better shape, that doesn't have that sort of end date goal, it's much easier. It's going to be much easier and more tempting to just fall off the wagon and binge, for sure.
Do you think that bro diets lend themselves better to intense short-term goals versus if it fits your macros?
Yes and no. I think they can be sustainable if you do focus a little bit more on variety, sort of like a hybrid of the two.
Yeah.
Is what I think would be best case scenario for sustainability long term, where you are still getting most of your calories from whole foods, because even from just a health standpoint, that's best. Mm-hmm. There's not many people that would argue that Reese's Puffs cereal, from a health standpoint, is going to be on par with oats.
Like, having nutrition facts written on there is kind of false advertising.
Yes.
Because there's not a nutrient in that.
Exactly. I don't think anyone is arguing that.
Yeah.
So, for overall health and sustainability, I think still getting 85% of your daily calories from whole foods is going to be optimal. Mm-hmm. 15 to 20%, just make sure they fit into your calories, make sure they fit into those macros, and you'll stay on track body composition wise. You'll mentally be a little bit happier because you had that 15-20% leeway with your selection, your food choices. And that should help immensely with sustainability long term.
That is a staple of the nutrition coaching I do with clients, is that we aim for 90% compliance. Yeah. Not 100%, because that's the kind of stuff that drives you nuts.
Yes.
And has you falling off the wagon for a couple weeks at a time.
Yes.
So 80% compliance to your eating program will keep you right where you are most of the time. Yeah. 90% will move you forward at a moderate rate. Yeah. And 100% will make you go insane.
Yes.
So,
yes.
That pretty much boils down to like 2 free meals a week.
Yeah.
For most people, if you think 3 to 4 meals a day.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What do you say, Shrey?
Well, what I was about to say is, when I say binge, I don't mean just like a little, like a pizza. I meant like I get the pizza and then I go to the store and raid the aisles and bring it back a huge box of things. And that'd just be Friday night. Then Saturday comes and I go to all the restaurants. And then Sunday comes and I go all the places then. And then Monday I go back to normal because I was able to do that. But like,
there's a big snowball effect when it comes to that, right?
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because we should define binge as well.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of food, so that's why I like how I eat, because I have to feel full, right? Yeah. So eating the way he does, for me, it would feel boring, and then also...
You'd feel like you needed to binge like that.
Yeah.
You'd be super unsatisfied.
Yeah.
And then, so like, binging, typically when Neil and I are talking about a cheat meal or a free meal or a binge meal or something like that, it's a food that you like that isn't typically in your diet, but it's a reasonable amount of that.
Yeah.
Now, the kind of binging that we're talking about right now that most people experience, so like, Shrey, you're exactly the average client when you used to do this. I mean, it's a very common thing.
Oh, yeah.
5 days of clean eating and then just a damn free-for-all on the weekends, where it's not just like, oh, I had 2 slices of pizza, but like I had 2 pizzas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like you can undo your weekly calorie deficit in a day.
Yes,
no
you can.
problem if you just go off the rails.
Yes,
and that's
you
especially
can.
bad during football season, honestly.
Yeah.
All the football food is like pizza, wings, all that kind of stuff.
And you're sitting there for 4 hours eating.
Yeah, just watching like several football games, just brat after brat after brat.
Yes. Yes.
So that's thanks for bringing that up, Shrey.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
No, that is a really good point. And it circles back to what you said at the start of the episode about it really boiling down to the type of person, to the individual. For certain people, like in your experience, the simplicity of the bro diet helped you stick to it.
Yeah.
For people like Shreyas, which I think is probably more common.
Much more.
It's more common now, but it wasn't like, this is kind of very new to most people. The way I'm eating, at least.
No. I mean, not the way you're eating. I mean, the
like
type
your
of
outlook.
the type of person you are with food. Your relationship with food, is more common for the average person. Where if you're too restricted, it's going to incite wild binge sessions like what you just talked about. I think that's the more common
That's
of the two.
typical. It's the majority of people for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really, my propensity for the bro diet is because I suck at cooking things.
Sure.
So I can make 3 things repeatedly.
Sure.
When even on mine, like I'm not going crazy and having like what the cereal are you talking about?
Reese's
Reese's
Puffs.
Puffs and stuff. Like I still eat, like for breakfast I'll still have my eggs and protein shake and stuff like that.
You're still having Whole Foods.
I'm still having Whole Foods. I'm still eating pretty clean. I'm just making the foods that I like work for me better.
Yeah. It's definitely the way to shade towards as well. So everybody listening, that's what I would recommend for you, is doing exactly what Shreyas is talking about.
Instead of having a pound of chicken, I just make my brownie thing, and
And it's a high protein
and
brownie,
it
low
fills me
calorie
up more
brownie.
than a pound of chicken.
Yeah. No, I think that's the way to go for most people, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest advantage to just being on a straight up bro diet is consistency, unrelenting consistency. You know that every single day, if you eat these 5-6 meals, there's no question mark whether or not you're hitting your macros.
Yep.
You don't have to track anything because it's the same 5-6 meals.
You did the math once, and now it's going to be the same every
and now
time
you're
you
done.
make it.
So I would say if you're the type of person that hates tracking, and that's the worst part of following a diet for you, because there are people like that too who refuse to track, then maybe stick to your 5-6 meals a day and keep it really, really simple.
Yeah. Which is kind of ironic, because I think the just random general thought is that a bodybuilder diet is really meticulous tracking all the time.
Yeah.
And in reality, because you're eating the same thing every time, you do it once and you count how many times you do it in a day.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. It makes it really simple from a numbers standpoint. You don't even have to think about the numbers.
Yeah.
You just eat the food. Just eat the food and you'll stay on track.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who values the food variety, like what Shreyas is talking about, which I think is most people, then sort of a hybrid approach like we're talking about, I believe, is the way to go.
So what is a good way? I mean, it sounds like bro diet is pretty easy to put together. As an individual, you'll still have the same macronutrient needs. It's just 2 different ways of fulfilling those needs.
Correct.
Bro diet's really simple and straightforward. You repeat it a lot.
Yeah.
What's the best way to start using if it fits your macros?
Yeah. So what I would say is first calculate your total calorie needs. Whole bunch of calculators out there. So if you search for TDEE calculator, total daily energy expenditure calculator, you will put in your stats, your body weight, your age, your height, your gender, And it will factor all of this in and give you at least a rough estimate of what your maintenance is. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to lose weight, subtract 400 to 500 calories from that number. And so now you have your calorie range. From there, you want to hit your protein minimum, which will vary depending on who you ask. You and I typically advocate for the 1 gram per pound of lean body mass as a good starting point. So if you have, let's say, 150 pounds of lean body mass on you, roughly, you'd be shooting for 150 grams of protein per day.
Mm-hmm. So you will need to know your body fat percentage and do that math a little bit. Yeah. There are a bunch of bioelectrical impedance ones that'll get you close enough that you can start making adjustments from it. Mm-hmm. So you can usually find those at any commercial gym, or you can get them on Amazon.
If somebody has no idea what their body fat percentage, what do you recommend?
I say 0.75 grams per pound of body weight.
Same. Yeah. It's usually a safe bet. If most people are in the 20 to 30% body fat range when they're starting their weight loss journey, then that'll get you in the ballpark. Absolutely. And then I usually have people then move on to a dietary fat requirement. Fat is an essential nutrient, and it's super important just for brain function and
hormone support,
just a whole bunch of processes in your body. So what I say is 0.3 to 0.5 grams per pound of body weight is a really good range to sit in. I wouldn't go any lower than 0.3 times your body weight, honestly.
Yeah, that gets you to essential fat for survival.
Yes, exactly. So once you factor that in, now you're going to calculate how much of your calorie budget have you used up to this point. So there are 4 calories per gram of protein. There are 9 calories per gram of fat. So based on those two numbers you came up with, you multiply 1 by 4, 1 by 9, add them together. Now you subtract that from your total calorie budget, and you have whatever you have left for carbohydrates. So divide that number by 4, because it's also 4 calories per gram, and you have your carbohydrate grams.
Yep.
So that's how you calculate your macronutrient and calorie needs. Again, the calorie calculation is a rough estimate based on those factors. So you will probably have to make adjustments as you go, just based on the individual, based on your activity level, your individual metabolic rate, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and that's literally every calorie equation you're going to get is going to be an estimation.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So they'll be close, but you can always tweak it to be more specific.
Yeah.
Over time.
So now that you have your numbers, what I recommend people use is an app called MyFitnessPal. Mm-hmm. It's super easy. It's free. Pretty much all my clients use it, or the vast majority. I use it every single day. And it's basically a huge database of foods. Pretty much every brand of anything you could ever think of is in there.
Yep.
And if you don't feel like sitting down and searching, there's a barcode function where you can just scan the barcode of the package. It couldn't be easier.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So you log your food for the day in that app. It will do all the math for you, tell me how many calories you've eaten roughly, how much protein, how many carbs, how much fat.
And
then all you have to do is find recipes that meet those needs.
Exactly.
Yeah, for me, my favorite part of that is you can make your own meals out of it. So you put the calories in, all the stuff in there, or you can go buy ingredients and put those in. But
nice. So like when you
MyFitnessPal and create recipes there.
Well, there's two. There's one that says create food, and that's just literally just only gives you the calories, and then the macros you can put in, and then there's meals, and that actually lets you put in the different items in your food.
That's cool. So in other words, if you use the same recipes frequently,
yeah, for me that helps a lot, because if I put brownie in, I just click the brownie button and it shoots it in there.
Nice.
That's your custom brownie recipe. That's dope.
Nice. That's cool.
So I don't have to redo that every time.
That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of features like that in the app that just make it super easy to use over and over.
Yeah.
So
we're not sponsored by them or anything. Like, they don't know that MyFitnessPal doesn't know we're talking about them at all. We just almost exclusively use it.
Like it too, if you don't like it.
Yeah, if that's not your favorite, you can find something else. We've just had the most ease of use with MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
It also integrates to most programming tracking and like Fitbits and watches and other things like that. It integrates to a lot of other fitness trackers.
Yeah,
Plus,
exactly.
if you have like a trainer or someone watching your stuff, they can also see what you're putting down.
That's my favorite part.
Yep. And log in.
Yeah, let's see what Shreyas ate today. 12 brownies.
How did he get 50 grams of protein? Yeah. Shreyas, please send recipe.
Please send recipe now. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think that pretty well catalogs the differences, how to get started.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can track the bro diet the exact same way with the exact same app.
Yeah.
And
so the only difference there, you'd calculate your needs the exact same way. You would track everything to figure out the amounts of the various foods and how many meals and all that. And you'd only really have to do that once.
Yeah.
And then you just repeat it.
And I think it's worth saying, too, that you don't have to only track things after the fact. If you don't know what the calorie content of something's going to be, Shreyas is talking about creating recipes and meals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can do that ahead of time.
Yeah.
As part of your planning for this kind of thing, so that like you don't accidentally go, oh crap, I thought that would be way less calories or way more protein, and now that I've eaten that, I find out that it's not.
If I'm switching something up in my daily intake, like a different protein source or anything different, I'll track a day ahead. I'll put the whole day in the night before and make sure that it's perfect. You do the same thing?
Yeah. Nice. Build it up ahead of time, make sure it's going to fit.
Yeah.
That way you're not behind the 8 ball all day.
There you go.
And I also relatively have the same thing week to week. So like my days don't differ a lot on when I'm eating. So if I have brownies on Wednesday, usually that's when I usually have them. So I do have structure to it. It's not like I'm making totally different things every week.
You're not just making it up as you go along every day.
Like I like what I like, so I put them on the certain days that it works with my macros the best.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to eat the same thing every day when it involves foods you like every day. Yeah. For sure.
Like one thing that's been really helpful for a lot of my clients too is having staple like breakfast and lunch. And then if you want to vary your dinner every night or something, you can pick a meal that's easy for you to track and improvise on, and then still have standard meals at other parts of the day.
Totally.
So that you know the majority of your calorie intake.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be all or nothing either, as long as you're getting the work done.
Yep, agreed.
Is there anything else that would be helpful that you guys think we haven't covered on this? I think that's a pretty good starter's guide,
honestly pretty complete. I don't really have a thing to add.
Shrey Beast?
I just think, I mean, honestly, if you're young and you're, wanting to make a change, I'd say start, find what your calories are and just start trying to fill that with foods you like first. And then work on getting the protein in there.
In other words, if you're a 17-year-old kid, don't hop on Kai Green's diet day one. No. Yeah.
Also, guys, progress over perfection. You're not going to nail it right out of the gate. No one ever has, and no one ever will. Yeah. So as long as you're doing better than you were before, you're doing phenomenal. Like, just keep working at it. It's a process.
Absolutely.
That sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right. This has been... Oh, you got one more?
I'll say also I'm still in the process of what I think I'm doing correctly, right? With this, if it fits your macros. So I'm trying to get as lean as I can doing this. If it doesn't work, then I have to, I'll come back on here and let you know.
It's all an ongoing process, right?
Well, and you're not married to one style. You can ride if it fits your macros for a long time, and if you want to do a little extra and switch to a bro diet, you can, and then go back. Like
from the science and what other people say, I should be able to get pretty lean, and then I might have to switch a little bit over, like half more what he does to get to the under 10 or 9%.
Sweet. Well, good, man. This has been the Big Freakin' Health Coach podcast with special guest, Shrey Beast.
Special
Check him out
guest.
On Instagrams. That's Big Freakin' Neil. I'm Health Coach Kane. If you got something out of this episode, and I'm pretty sure you did, leave us a 5-star review, share with your friends, and share with your friends so you have accountability buddies for these kinds of things. If you and your friends have the same kind of goals, this is a great episode for you guys to listen to together, formulate a plan, and hold each other accountable.
Absolutely.
So share. If you have follow-up questions, you could hit either of us up on Instagram, send us a DM, and we are happy to get back to you. Until next time, go eat clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or, eat some Reese's Puff cereal, but track it.
I don't know why I even picked that cereal. I've never even really had Reese's Puffs. I should have said Cinnamon Toast
Sounds
Crunch.
amazing. Oh, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is what it's at, though.
Yeah, and this is the part where we devolve into trainers just drooling over food we hardly ever eat.
Right, exactly.
Oreos.
Those are vegan, technically.
Oreos?
Yeah, Oreos are vegan.
Nice.
Well, my wife was vegan. We ate too many Oreos. All right, you guys. All right. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll catch you next week. Send us questions and have a great week.
See ya.